have bread flour, salt, safe instant yeast, fresh water, and diastatic malt powder, which is optional. So I use 500 grams of flour, 15 grams of salt, a teaspoon of safe instant yeast. And like I said, this is optional. It's diastatic malt powder. I got it from King Arthur Flour for my sandwich bread, but I do think it helps the texture and the shelf life. Okay, that's all you need. So you just really need flour, salt, and yeast. I've already measured my water. It's 310 grams. Cold. You want it cold. Turn it on dough. Slowly add the water until it comes into a ball. You don't want it too wet, you don't want it too dry, obviously. Once it comes into a ball, you're going to process it for 45 seconds. That's a ball. 45 seconds from now. You can take out a thermometer. Oh my gosh, I knew I was cold. It's only 60 degrees in my house. Once you get to know this recipe, you won't need to take the temperature. But you're shooting for like 78, 79, 80 degrees, something like that. So just to prove that point, this takes too long. Trust me, I'm at 78 right now. If I left it in for a couple more minutes, it would be 80. That's just the way it is. Now you don't have to do this. I like to because it makes me feel like a real bread maker. You can make this whole recipe really without ever kneading the dough. So that's what you do. Put it somewhere that you can put a cover on it and let it rise for an hour and a half. Okay, I'm back. It's been an hour and a half. You're gonna turn your dough out. You need a kitchen towel. My bread didn't rise very much because it's really cold in my house. If you remember, 60 degrees or so. I'm in a hurry because I have to go to a soccer game. So I'm not gonna worry about it because it will rise in this second rising. So you can divide this bread into 3 sections or 4. I divide it into 4 more or less equal sections. I'm not gonna be anal about that. Okay. So what we're doing here is shaping them into loaves. See that? Then I push it in the middle, pinch up. I wonder if you can see that. And then pinch the seam. I'm gonna wait to roll that out a little bit, okay? Press it down a little, roll, pinch, turn it around, roll, pinch, kind of a log, down the middle, pinch the seam, pull it up from the sides, pinch. Last one, pinch and roll, pinch and roll. Okay. And I only roll it as long as my cookie sheet. Give your Onyx, make a little tray for it. It can be kind of springy. It'll spring back. Dogs. the nature of bread, it's elastic, so make a little tray for it. Put a dusting. Cover it up. Let it sit in a bag covered for 45 to 90 minutes depending on the temperature of your kitchen. And preheat your oven to 500 degrees. In my oven I have some baking stones. They're old and broken, but I just have them going across one rack. And I have a temperature gauge so that I know exactly what the temperature is. And then this bread pan filled with nuts and bolts is what I use to create steam. I just heat it up in the oven and I pour water onto it right before I bake. You can also use just a like a roasting pan at the bottom of your oven. It helps with the crust of the bread. You can use it if you want. It's very easy. Otherwise you can just forego that step. You might not get the same rise. And right before you're ready to bake, transfer the loaves to a baking sheet and score with a sharp knife. After your bread has risen for anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half, you're going to want to score the loaves. You can use just a sharp knife, put 3 or 4 diagonal lines across them, and bake. Pour a half a cup of warm water into the container at the bottom of your oven. And then immediately turn your oven temperature down to 450 degrees for the remainder of the 10-minute cooking time. And there's the finished loaves. These are where your scores were. They should have a minimum temperature inside. You can stick an instant read thermometer in of 205 degrees.